What exactly? So they're working. You said they're grafters, so they're working very hard, and they've got a car, a nice car. What is your dad cross about?
No, it's not. It's because of the area we live,
Yeah.
and it's like, obviously, whenever like any of the council houses has become available, it's been given to an asylum seeking family.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know people that work in the local.
A heated political debate has raised a much bigger question. Are working class communities being ignored? Or is frustration over immigration being fueled by misinformation? A caller named Anna described how her father, a retired scaffolder, struggles with the cost of living, while asylum seekers are being housed in her area. She claimed some were even receiving cars. But the presenter immediately challenged her. Where is the evidence? And that is where this conversation became explosive. Anna says she is not against helping refugees. Her concern is fairness, especially when local families are also struggling to find affordable housing. So who has the stronger argument? Is this really about asylum seekers, or is it about much bigger failure in housing and living standards? Let's break down what really happened.
Anna is in Middlesbrough. Anna, what would you like to say?
So first, before I say it, firstly, I'd like to say that I do agree with probably 99% of your politics.
Of course.
But I do find sometimes that you're quite condescending.
Oh, I'm sure I
and
am.
think that people they can come to these conclusions just because, like, they read and hear things.
What else happens, do you think?
So I come from quite a low-class area, and it is an area where a lot of asylum seekers and refugees get put. My dad's a 70-odd-year-old ex-scaffolder. In fact, he was only finished scaffolding 67 years ago. A few years ago at 67. He was scaffolding up until the age of 67.
Yeah.
He's now on a pension. He can barely afford to eat or put his heating on, living hand to mouth. And we live in an area where it started off with one family, because it's a working class area, but it's a nice area in a working class area. So it's quite sought after accommodation. And they were from Syria. They were put there because they were chased out of another area. The people in where my dad lives welcomed this family, and actually my dad stood guard on this house one night when some racists were trying to get at them. But since then, quite a lot of their extended families have been moved into the area. We've seen, like, my dad sees them, they've all got nice cars, nice clothes, mobile phones. And it does get my dad upset when he can barely afford to, get a week's shopping in.
Yes. And does he believe that they've been given their cars and their phones by the government or something like that?
Well, we do know that they do all get a hand up to get started. Now, they are grafters. I'm not taking anything away from them because I actually agree that we do need to help people.
So they're working?
But some of them are, yeah. The males in the family are. The women, obviously, they aren't allowed.
Yeah. So what exactly? So they're working. You said they're grafters, so they're working very hard, and they've got a car, a nice car. What is your dad cross about?
No, it's not. It's because of the area we live, and it's like, obviously, whenever like any of the council houses has become available, it's been given to an asylum seeking family. Yeah. And obviously, I know people that work in the local council.
I think it would be someone who's
furniture and everything provided. They do get a very big hand up to start.
Yes. They don't. They don't. Well, how big is it, Anna?
Well, they get the houses furnished. They do get provided cars and things like that.
They don't get provided with cars, Anna.
They have done.
They don't.
From what I've seen.
But the thing is now, I have to say, where did you hear that? And you say that I'm condescending because people believe this stuff independently of having been told it by people who aren't telling them the truth, you see. I don't want to be condescending, and I understand why you use that word, but where did you hear that the asylum seekers are given free cars?
I'm not saying all asylum seekers
but
are
any,
free
where
cars.
Did you hear it?
I've got friends that work in the local council that work a part of these, and it's again.
What sorts of cars do they get?
I'm not. I don't know. That's like precisely for every single one. What I'm saying is...
No, I heard
that
what you're saying.
the
Everyone can
area
hear
I
what
live in-
everyone can hear what you're saying, Anna.
The area I live in,
Yeah.
and it's always the asylum seekers are always put in lower class, underprivileged areas, and the reason people get annoyed,
Yes.
and whether it's right or wrong, well, it is wrong, but it's not because of necessarily that they're getting, it's because they're struggling as well.
What
and they're
would
not
your
getting
dad
help.
feel? What would they feel like if they were put in smarter areas than where you live, where your dad lived?
Well, our area wouldn't see them, would we? I mean, I'm
No,
not
but
being
if
funny,
you-
James.
you-
How many council estates have you lived on?
Well, 2, but a long time ago, and it doesn't really mean anything in the greater scheme of things because the
Well,
daily.
it does, and look, when they're
Well, let me tell you
struggling to
why.
live anywhere,
But
they're
Anna, the
struggling to
stories.
get house.
Okay, the stories
When
that.
they're struggling to get
Okay, you
house.
carry on, and then I'll have a go.
But this is true, though, because I mean,
Is it as
I've
true
seen
as the
that-
free cars?
You know, you can take the mick out of that all you
I'm
want.
not
James,
taking
but
the
I know
mick
for
out
a
of it
fact-
because you'll call me
I know for a
condescending.
fact
You've believed something that's not true, Anna.
But
And
I
I don't know how I can help you. But let's focus on the housing bit because if they were put in Mayfair or Belgravia, or if let's just say they were put in an area where your dad can't afford to live, then that would be the thing that they were getting cross about as well.
But
Unless they
but
actually object
but
to
you're-
the proximity.
You're wondering, no, it's not a case of the proximity.
What is
It's
it
when
then?
they can't get the houses that are available.
But who can't get? Your
That's
dad's
what I'm
got a
on about.
house.
I'm on about this. I know that because there's people in the area.
Yes.
I'll take for instance then my sister recently. She was private renting. The renter wanted the house back. My sister was trying to get a house and she couldn't get a house for love nor money.
Yes.
So
So where is
now
she now?
private renting again. She's having to private rent again.
Well,
But she was, and she has.
She got
has
a house
2
then?
children. Yeah, but eventually, and again. it
what's
was
the
like-
99% of my politics you agree with, Anna? Just out of interest.
Because I'm not saying that we shouldn't be helping. What I'm saying is the
You don't-
reason
they
people are
shouldn't be-
getting angry.
They shouldn't. Well,
I'm
I don't.
not-
But you're getting angry
I'm
about
not-
free cars that don't exist and about people being
No,
housed in
well,
the poorest parts of town. Whereas
I
if
said
they
I've
were being
seen that
put,
and I've been. I'm not. No, but I'm not getting angry. I'm trying to explain why people are angry.
but
and why
they're
they get
angry about things that
frustrated.
aren't real.
But that is real, though, James.
But-
You're saying that isn't real
Okay.
about the housing. It's true.
No, but your sister's got a
When-
house.
the-
And if they put them in areas, if they
Eventually-
put them in smarter parts of, if
eventually-
they put them in smarter parts of town,
But when people
Then
can't
people would
get
be even
houses,
angrier.
I understand why they would get upset when.
of course I can. If they were homeless people who could afford to pay rent and couldn't get a house that was being given, and also I don't think asylum seekers get houses. You'd have to have had your application actually fully processed at that point, where you become an actual refugee. You are a successful applicant for asylum. And I, listen, I do understand.
Well, this I disagree because I know for a fact.
I do understand. Well, you
they
knew
get
for a fact they
housed.
were getting free cars a minute ago. I mean, we can't keep going round in circles.
Right, again, I didn't say. I said I've seen it and I've been told. I didn't
Yeah.
say I knew for a fact.
And then
but
when
about
I
the
when I
house,
say that
didn't know
that's
for
not
a
true,
fact.
you call me condescending.
Actually, I said I find you quite condescending at times, James.
Yes.
I said I agree with what you
I don't know
said.
how to
find
help,
quite
you see,
condescending
because
at times.
people believe things that aren't true, that encourage them to harbour negative thoughts and feelings towards refugees. And when I point out that the things aren't true, you think I'm condescending. I don't know what to do with those 3 facts, Anna. I really don't. I've got no beef with you, and your dad sounds like a lovely bloke. He really does, standing guard outside the house. But the feelings of the people that wanted to attack the house are the feelings that you're describing.
But that's again, you've completely turned everything I've said
I
around.
haven't. I've just repeated it back to you.
No, you haven't at all. I'm saying the reason why people do get upset at times, and I've said that we do need help. It's not an easy answer, but this is really happening in a lot of working class
But it isn't, you
estates
see. The
across
free
country.
cars, it's not really happening.
But you keep going back to that, and I've said
Well, because
right,
that's the
okay,
most
fair
inflammatory
enough,
thing that you
that's-
said. And I think it was in a British National Party manifesto in 2011.
But I'm only saying from people.
was a
that
lie
I-
then, and
who've
it's a
worked
lie
within
now.
The council. Okay, fair enough. Then we'll call that a lie. But when we come to a housing situation, that's not a lie.
Well, no, of course it's not a lie, but everybody needs somewhere to live. And if they were putting the people that we're talking about in
I
the...
know, but
You
but
can't
what I'm
keep.
saying is, this is why people get upset.
Yes, but they'd be even more upset if they were being put in smarter parts of town. This is why it's such a reductive argument, is that they put the asylum seekers in the cheapest property available. Now, your argument is, but there are some people who were born here who want the cheapest property available as well. I've got no beef with that, but if they put them somewhere else...
Not wanting it. Not a case of I want that house. I need a house.
Yes,
I need
but if they
houses
put
as
the
well.
asylum seekers or the refugees who are often fleeing torture and persecution and living on £5.83 a day, if they put them somewhere else, somewhere smarter, then people in the part of town you're talking about would be absolutely livid, and the Sun would have it on their front page. You remember the stories about the single mother from Syria with 8 children and a mansion in Maida Vale? So whatever happens, unless you give these people no help at all, whatever happens, what you're describing here is legit.
I'm not saying
no, you've got to let me finish one sentence, Anna.
You say you're not condescending.
No, I'm really not. I'm just asking you to let me finish one sentence because you can't hear what I'm saying if you're talking. Whatever they did, the feelings you're describing would still exist. There's nothing that can be done differently.
The most important point here is that two different issues are being mixed together. Anna's frustration is understandable. Her father is struggling financially and her family has experienced difficulties finding housing. Those are genuine concerns. But the claim about asylum seekers being given free cars is a completely different matter. If there is no solid evidence for that claim, repeating it can turn genuine frustration into misinformation. And that's where the presenter had a strong point. However, the presenter also risked missing the emotional issue behind Anna's argument. She wasn't simply saying, "Don't help refugees." She was asking why people who have lived and worked in Britain can struggle to afford basic necessities while asylum seekers receive government support. That is a legitimate political question. The answer shouldn't be to blame refugees for the housing crisis. It should be to ask why there aren't enough affordable homes and why so many ordinary families feel abandoned. At the same time, supporting refugees doesn't mean the government should escape criticism. There can still be serious questions about asylum accommodation, local services, government spending, and whether communities feel properly supported. So the real debate isn't refugees versus British people. It's about whether government policy is helping vulnerable people fairly, and whether politicians are doing enough to address the housing and cost of living problems affecting everyone. And this is why arguments like this become so heated. People are angry because they feel ignored. But anger doesn't automatically make every claim true. The challenge is separating real problems from questionable explanations. What do you think? Was Anna raising legitimate concerns? Or did the misinformation about asylum seekers weaken her argument? Drop your opinion in the comments, and if you found this analysis useful, like the video and subscribe for more political commentary.